So you want to start collecting Disney Cars diecasts. Let's talk about 2010. Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of Disney Cars Collector's Guide, where I teach cars collectors old and new about Disney Cars diecasts. So let's get started, because today we're going to be talking about 2010 in this edition of Diecast History. I wasn't really there for 2010. I mean, I was there, but I wasn't paying attention to collecting cars in 2010. I think one of the reasons for that was probably because of all the lenticulars, and also I kind of naturally drifted away from cars. It took Cars 2 to reignite that spark, as I got super excited with the new Cars 2 cars coming out. So I'm not going to have many physical diecasts here to show you guys today, since actually all of mine that aren't lenticulars, for the most part, are re-releases from later years. Hold on a second, guys, I found one. This is Metallic DJ. I'm pretty sure he's the only car that I have who is actually from 2010 and isn't a re-release that isn't a lenticular or a Cars Tune car. So here he is, Metallic DJ. Let's get started by talking about what was new for 2010 in the main line. Of course, I've already done a separate episode on Cars Tunes. Check that out if you haven't, since that was another toy line released in 2010. The Final Lap collection was a Target exclusive line of normal cars with fixed eyes. And by fixed eyes, I mean non-lenticular. A lot of them were new. There were a few re-releases in there, but for the majority of the cars, they were new releases. Most of them were based off of minor characters from the first movie, like Milo or Marty Breakburst, Donna Pitts, among others. And some of these are extremely rare nowadays, like the coveted race-damaged mood springs. So, the Final Lap collection was exclusive to Target. What did the rest of the stores get? Lenticulars, 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 and more lenticulars. Nearly every release this year was a lenticular that wasn't in the Final Lap collection. I've already covered lenticulars as well, so I'm just going to very briefly touch on that. Very few non-lenticular cars were released in the Piston Cup Night series, which is the name given to non-Final Lap cars from 2010. Metallic DJ here is one of the few. Metallic Gerald Card Trip was another one, as well as a Metallic Hydraulic Ramona. And the Piston Cup Night singles either A, re-released pre-existing cars as lenticulars, or B, re-released the new Final Lap cars as lenticulars. The final thing I want to touch on for what was new with 2010 were the color changers. These cars that were all plastic, if you dip them in water, they change colors. That's basically it. So let's move on to the packaging. Final Lap packaging was pretty standard. You can see it up there. There's race damaged mood springs. I had this very nice picture of Dexter Hoover waving his flag with a little ring around it that said Final Lap, or Final Lap collection. It had this pretty cool stylized background with a blue city. Kind of reminds me of the new Blue Desert packaging, to be honest. This was much more stylized. Whereas the packaging for diecasts to this day and before usually used backgrounds that looked like they were from the movies. This packaging, super stylized backgrounds. And on the back of the packaging, you could find a checklist with multiple other cars from the Final Lap collection. But what I find super interesting is the packaging they chose for the lenticulars in the Piston Cup Night series, as well as some rubber tire cars released that year. Whereas normal diecasts only have the bubble on this side, and the back is full of all the information and other cars in the series, etc., etc. The Piston Cup Night singles had an open back with a little plastic part of the bubble covering it, so that you could see your car from all angles, or at least from both sides. It made them a pain to open, but helped out the lenticular gimmick, as you can now see the cars from both sides. Now on to the notable releases. The one that I really want to touch on is Race Damaged Mood Springs. He's one of the rarest cars to this day. I also want to briefly mention all of the Piston Cup haulers, and non-Piston Cup truck stop haulers. Can't forget about Bessie, as well as all the multi-packs with the Pitties and Crew Chiefs, and Pitties, haulers, and racers, as they're all super rare now. Anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you learned something here today on Collector's Guide. I'll see you all next time. Bye now.